December 30th. We're talking Stranger Things. We're talking season 5, episode 1, but there will be spoilers for all of season 5 up till now. Again, December 30th. The finale comes out tomorrow. I could not be more excited. I got some things cooking. So, I mean, marinating, you know. And I have a lot to say. So I thought I'd make a video, put it out there, see what happens. This is for my friends, my loved ones, and anyone who believes that there is a secret. It's not a secret, it's an open secret about Michael Wheeler. This show is about Mike, and they've been hiding how it's about Mike. They've been hiding his story and other characters. They've been hiding. So this is we're putting our Mike glasses on. We're putting our M marks the spot, Holly tells us. She says, cap on to Max when she holds up the spyglass and has the M shape, okay? And Mike, we have in Sorcerer, episode 4 of season 5, he tells us, eyes on me, eyes on me. Keith also tells us at the video store, eyes on me, Harrington. But our eyes are not on Keith. They are on Mike. This also just is an overarching discussion about how meta this show is. Because now that we've seen season 5, everything except the finale, I went back and watched season 4. I'm convinced they are having a conversation with the audience via a double meaning of almost every single line, at least in the crawl so far. So that's what this is going to be about. Be multiple parts, because I had so much to say about almost every single line that came out of every person's mouth. And yeah, if you want a fun little ride through Stranger Things season 5, episode 1, The Crawl, that will include spoilers, and the overarching the through line is that this show is about Mike. I get including that Mike is in love with Will, and this show is meta. And much of this season is the show having a conversation with the audience about what's going on in this show. And it is absolutely genius. I'm 100% convinced. We'll see tomorrow. And I just wanted to, yak about my thoughts about it before it comes out. I want to be on the record. To my friends, to my loved ones, to everyone I've been spamming nonstop for the last, I don't know, some people it's only been a couple days, some of you a couple weeks, some of you longer. This is for you. I'm speaking into this camera so you can stop being spammed by me. I love and appreciate you. I feel seen and heard. And let's get into it. I first want to talk about the name of this episode. This episode is called The Crawl. I am starting with season 5 because I don't want to run out of time. And if I finish this pretty quick today, I might go back to season 4 and start there, because there is so much in season 4. I probably will include enough of it in this because a lot of it informs this. I mean, this is where a lot of this came from, was finishing volume 2, going, whoa, what just happened? And then I rewatched season 4. The last 2 episodes of season 4 are telling us everything. Including this conversation between Steve and Nancy, where they're walking through the woods, and, well, first of all, Robin thinks they're lost and says, that would suck, wouldn't it? If Vecna tried to end the world because we got lost in the woods. Did something happen to someone maybe lost in the woods that she could be talking about? Anyway, same scene, Steve and Nancy are talking. Nancy, talking about Robin, says, she told me she was slower than all the other babies learning to walk. She's talking, that Robin mirrors Will. Okay, Will was slower. Joy says this in season 1. He takes longer than other people to grow up. And Steve says, I can top that. I crawled backwards. Now, Steve is talking about Mike. And you know what he says about crawling backwards? It makes sense. You push to move. Mike is pushing people away. That's his whole deal. So this episode called The Crawl. Oh, let me finish about Steve. Because he also says, you know, if I get a thump on my head, I can change. I can learn, and I can move forward. I can learn to crawl forward. And Holly, who is Mike's younger brother, sister, and we'll get into this in episode 2, especially the name of episode 2 of this season, Steve says You know what happened is I pushed myself backwards down a flight of stairs and thumped my head. And what happens to Holly in the last episode that we just saw of volume 2? I think she falls down a flight of stairs and thumps her head. In fact, she has a huge scratch on her face about it. And in fact, she didn't fall down the stairs, actually. She got pushed by a bunch of rabid children who were incited to violence by the monster of this show. Okay, so this episode title, it's called The Crawl because of their crawl to find Vecna, but it's also called The Crawl because Mike is learning to crawl. We're crawling. So we'll get into the beginning. I think I'm going to skip the first 5 minutes because it's disturbing and I don't want to watch it. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with Holly waking up, breakfast. I'm interested. Is there something about food? I'm going to keep an eye on the food in this because this whole volume starts out with a feast. They're feasting on breakfast. And you know who doesn't get any food at the end? Ted. You know who's not feasting at the beginning? Ted. You know who's not feasting at the beginning of this volume of this entire season? People who don't want Mike and Will to be in a romantic couple. They live together. I mean, that's the buzziest thing I can imagine. That's an opening that we're all like, oh my gosh, they live together. What? Yeah. And people who don't want that, they're Ted at the end of the table, going, no food left for me, and then rolling their eyes. And they all leave, and he's so tired. He doesn't want them in their house. He's like, can't we just kick them to the curb? Can't we kick all these people who want this show to have queer themes in it to the curb? Do we really have to have them in my house? Interesting. I'm interested in food. They're all feasting, the buyers and the wheelers. Okay. Then they get on their bikes, Mike and Will, in direct sync. They put their legs over the wheel, over their bikes at the exact same time. They start riding to school with Holly. I'm going to watch the next part and then see what I have to say. Okay, one of the very next things we have is them turning on the squawk. Don't even get me started on the squawk. Actually, do, because I'm making this video. That's the whole point. We have Robin doing her broadcast, and the peak of the broadcast is her talking about a date she has. The last we saw of Robin, second to last episode of season 4, she has lost hope. She goes, no, Vicky doesn't like me. And Steve goes, I still have hope. Interesting that at the second to last episode, our queer character had lost hope because she saw the person she had a crush on with somebody else. And then it zooms out. It shows that the person she's going on a date with is listening to the radio in her car. Oh my gosh, we are feasting. We're the breakfast table feasting. And there's plenty of Teds out there going, get this out of my show. Get this out of my sci-fi show. Interesting. But what happens? The middle of, I mean, we are, sorry, we're on top of the world, baby. We're like, this is season 5. Let's fucking go. Season 5. Oh no, the signal cuts out. Shoot. The signal, the love song that the radio DJ Rockin' Robin is sending to the person she likes, the signal got cut off. That's interesting. So the song for Vicky is playing and it gets interrupted. And what happens? Steve tries to help her, but he can't do it. He needs Dustin's help. He needs his best friend. But his best friend is upset with him. There's some tension. And he goes, Steve, you need to learn how to do it by yourself. This comes up later. Dustin's the one who handmade the telemetry tracker, and there's no way they could do it. There's this whole thing about pieces of the puzzle and people's individual skills and talents and beauty that they fit together. And when you're a family, you have to have unity as a family and each individual in the family has to be living an honest, truthful relationship with the people around them. And when people in the family are not doing that, that's when things start to fracture. Interesting. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm backing up a little bit. After Robin says this before she puts on the song for Vicky, after we inhaled those springtime snowflakes, who knows what's wrong with us? I feel that maybe the springtime snowflakes was everyone inhaling a little bit of mind flare particles. So and that's like the shame and the fear. I mean, you don't really have to inhale the snowflakes to be fighting your own internal shame and fear, but even on my first watch of Volume 1 in November, I thought they're making a big deal about how everyone's a little off. But we'll come back to that later. Maybe we're fine, maybe we're not. No one really knows for sure. So much of this volume, and goes into my ideas about the finale. So much of this volume, the lines are for the audience. They're talking to the audience. Maybe we're fine. Maybe Mike and Will are going to be together. Maybe not. No one knows for sure. This is what I mean when I say almost every single line seems. She says, after all, this was a natural phenomenon never before seen by man. I'm sorry. That's what everybody's saying about Mike and Will being together. He's never showed anything. And also, yeah, there's just something about the way they talk about things that are natural throughout this volume. Something is sus. This also explains why we're having this whole thing. Like, we ended season 4. There's a huge gap in the earth and they just covered it up with a band-aid, and we're watching this going, you gotta be kidding me. It's very obvious that something's going on. You're telling me this whole town just covered it up? I'm sorry. Name something that happened in the 80s, that happened in small towns, that was very obvious to a very specific group of people that everyone else tried to cover up. What could I be talking about? The men with guns, they don't like it. Not one bit. What? Are we watching the same show, people? She says this about the magazine. I have no idea what's going on in there, but I have a pretty good idea. I have an idea that there's a pretty good reason they want you to stay away. They're talking about Mike. They have a pretty good reason they want you to stay away from understanding Mike for how emotionally flat he is. They want you to stay away. They want the audience to stay away from Mike because it's going to be a big reveal in the end. It's every line. Hey, the rest of Hawkins is still there for you to enjoy. Listen, there's a lot to love about this season. The Teds of the world who are like, get this queer themes out of my show, there's still plenty to love in this show. A lot less in this season, I think. I think people are pretty upset, but the rest of the Hawkins is still there for you to love. Okay, I literally just got to the Rockin' Robin has a date part. I think I do need to be a little better about going chronologically because, going, what happens right after this? And then I'm watching going, oh no, I missed 10 different lines. This is what I'm talking about when I say I hear every line and I go, what? Who is this date with? Well, don't be so nosy, kids. They know who they are. They're saying the people who this show is for, the people for whom they have created this show, know who they are. They know who they are. You know who you are. We know who we are. This next one, this one's for you, babe. Right before Robin drops the needle on a song for Vicky. You can't... They're telling us that this season, we've waited long enough. We've waited long enough. This season's for us. This one's for you, babe. I saw recently, someone tweeted October 6, 2016, Will Byers has a crush on Mike Wheeler. Where are you? Where is that person? Give that person their medal. I also love that it shows the radio. It's like a tiny bit of suspense, but then it pans up to Vicky making the face that we are all making. She is making this face that's just like, oh my. Okay, listen. Vicky's smacking that radio. The music is on, the needle dropped. The end of Sorcerer, by the way. We're all like, holy! I'm sorry, that musical when it shows Will's hands opening, that look on Mike's face, that's us hearing that song from Vicky on the radio. Volume 2? That's us, Vicky going, what the hell? Oh, okay, so Vicky's a little bit upset, but Robin's extremely upset. Vicky goes, "What the hell?" Hits it. Robin goes, "What the hell? What the hell?" And then they run and they're trying to figure it out. And Steve accuses her, "You're bothering the military. You're egging them." The military is the Netflix executives. The military is the man. And Steve is accusing her of going, "You made them mad because you said too much stuff on air." People going, you're making them mad by putting too much queer stuff in your show. Oh, yeah, no, they're not putting queer stuff in their show. They made a queer show, people. Robin says, I was encouraging their compliance. Or, sorry, I was reiterating their goddamn rules, encouraging compliance. You know why it's been so ambiguous for 4 seasons? Because they were reiterating the rules and encouraging compliance. They were making it just sneaky enough, hiding Mike's internal struggle and internal life in these other characters. By the way, season 4, I just listed this out for my loved one. You know who you are. Watch season 4 and tell me Vicky, Hopper, Eddie, Nancy, and I'm so sorry to do this, but Yuri Izmailov, the peanut butter smuggler. Those people are telling you what's going on in Mike's head. We followed the rules. We didn't show you Mike. We showed you other people, and they waited till the finale to show us that those are all to put the pieces together for those of you who. Okay, I'll get to this at the end of this episode because, yeah, people who saw this are Uncle Eric, and then the Holly the tourist, the general audiences who don't know what's happening, and then on Christmas we're like, oh my gosh, this was touching, and then now we're gonna be in for an even bigger twist when not only is Will super gay, but sorry, the other main character is too. Steve calling Dustin and saying the signal at the Squawk has gone all wonky. I think Robin finally pissed him off. Interesting. Did the signal go all wonky in Volume 2? Did Will's coming out scene piss everyone off? The next line is Steve saying, doubtful she was encouraging compliance. Now, a big criticism of Will's coming out scene is that it was for the hetero gays, okay? That this is like that it was humiliating for Will, that this is what, like, you wouldn't come out to this many people, all this stuff. Sorry, this is crazy. Doubtful she was encouraging compliance. Robin was encouraging compliance. Will doing that scene, doing that cheesy, over the top scene with everybody there encouraging compliance. Dustin says the remote radio head is the more likely culprit. Now, who was everyone blaming that night? The head of Netflix? Oh my god, this is crazy. I just want to pause and say, I a little bit thought I was exaggerating when I said every line, but I have convinced myself through starting this video I am not even 10. I'm 11:50 and I skipped the first 5 minutes. I'm 5 minutes and I people. Now Dustin is jaded. He's like, Steve, figure it out yourself. It's probably this thing. I feel like Dustin kind of is representing the people who have had hope the whole time and feel alone and now are finally at the last straw for feeling alone. Who does that sound like? People who have watched the show and felt like they were really trying to do something for us, and finally in these last minutes, maybe you feel like you've been abandoned. Maybe you feel like, I don't want to try anymore. I've been trying, and can't you do part of it? Can't you carry this weight? Oh my gosh. Yeah, this scene is telling us what this show is about, and I clocked this on my first watch of this. Dustin's wearing his Hellfire shirt. You should be able to wear your Hellfire shirt at school. Are you kidding me? And this stuck out to me in season 4 too. You know how that season, one of the ending scenes is the news disrespecting Eddie and saying that it was still his fault and blaming him. I mean, to lose your friend and then have them disrespected like that, and Dustin's supposed to not wear that shirt to school. And on top of that, his friends come and tell him. Okay, we need to do line by line. I'm stopping myself. But He's wearing it. It's showing him walking through the halls. And I saw a lot of people before this season came out, because that shot was in the trailer, being like, oh no, that looks like what Max went through. That doesn't look like what Max went through. He's not hiding. He looks like someone who's who's carrying all of this, let's be unabashedly ourselves, on his own shoulders. That's who he looks like. People have abandoned him. And he's about to say that, so I'll just wait one second. Andy comes up to him and says, "What'd I tell you about that shirt, freak?" Okay. His friends come up and, stand up for him, and Lucas and Mike and Will say these things. And then once Andy is gone, they say the exact same thing. They do the exact same thing in like a benevolent, patriarchy, I know what's best for you, condescending way. They do the same thing. They say, "What'd I tell you about that shirt, freak? What did Hopper tell us about that shirt?" Hopper, who refers to Henry as a freak later on in this season. Hopper is going to go on a journey of understanding how he's contributing to this, because that's part of it. That's part of it. Your friends becoming the bullies out of concern for your safety. Will includes that in his speech. I thought you guys would think my life would be harder, but I didn't want you to think that, because it just made me feel more different. There's a lot here about being bullied by the people around you in the name of love and protection. Oh yeah, he comes up and says, well, if it isn't the traitor to Lucas, who throughout these last 2 seasons, Lucas has mirrored Will in his relationship with Max, who has mirrored Mike. I feel like they're telling us that Will's a traitor right here, but I don't think he's the only traitor. So Mike has this crazy, borderline, potentially outright eugenicist line. Listen to this. Kick him in the balls and keep him from further infecting the world with his unique brand of idiocy. Now, what did people say about like the genetics of queerness? We don't want it to spread. We don't want to pass it on to our kids. This is why we do this. This is why I'm making this video, because I think this sentence from Mike is a double meaning. On the top, it's like, wow, Mike, okay, I don't know if we need to talk about people infecting the world and like them not reproducing, eugenicist. But okay, on the second watch, it's like, yeah, because Mike has been infected and he's, God. This is the type of thing. Every line makes me convinced of what I'm seeing here, and it's at once really moving and like exciting that they really made this show. This one's for you, babe. It also is very upsetting to know that the actual right side up is a world where this is not a bombshell. So it's like a weird feeling. Hope you brought a change of clothes, Henderson. No one wants to see that shit. Is this a line about how much many of us like to examine the clothes that they're wearing? Mike is doing something very interesting here when he says Eddie never gave a rat's ass about what those mouth breathers were saying about him. And on the surface, this sounds like he did understand Eddie's message of, no, we shouldn't care what those people think. But Eddie's true message was, we shouldn't care what those people think, and we should be able to do what we want freely. Mike just really, he's not getting it. And Dustin's about to say that. They tell him, you're not listening. And Dustin says, no, you're not listening. Oh, and here's the iconic line. I think you're fighting 2 battles. You need to be fighting one. One, aka Henry, aka Vecna, aka the battle between these supernatural monsters is the one and the same battle as fighting our inner self-suppression and self-hate and our forced conformity. That's what's killing the kids. Now see, Will says the thing. Dustin, what if you get hurt? What if you get seriously hurt? And that's Will saying that. Same Will who, in a few episodes, is going to say, one of the things I'm nervous about is people thinking that my life is going to be harder because of this. The people that love me and they're worried about what I'm going to go through. That stuff hurts too. It's different from malicious bullies, but it's still a hurt. Okay, and they're like really, they're just so overt about this. And this scene, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say they're being over the top cheesy and sending a message, because there's no other reason for this type of writing. The people who made this show are the same people who made season 1, and season 1 rocks, okay? That season rocks. Uh, and I was the person who was like, 2 was pretty good, but it really dropped off after that, and I wasn't even excited for season 5. This summer when promos started coming out, I was like, they're still making those, huh? Can't believe they're really drawing this out. And now I'm like, thank God they had a plan. But okay, so this is what I'm talking about. The cheesy, follow the rules, blend in. They list out 3 different ways, synonyms for conform, 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 conform. Ooh, we got a Mike sighting. We got a stay focused on our next crawl. Mike thinks he's doing something, but the true Mike is just deep down in there begging to be let out. He thinks we gotta focus on finding Vecna, and Mike, you're just not getting it. And of course, we have to have Dustin really spell it out for us. Do you even hear yourselves right now? Blend in, follow the rules. I mean, people, if you think this season sounds off, I don't know what to tell you. I guess in 2 days we'll find out. But I'm a believer, man. I never wavered since October when I started getting into it. Mike says Jesus Christ. Oh my God, they slip all these. Wow. Dustin's trying to explain to him what they're doing, and Mike goes, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. These people are geniuses. People who made this show. I'm Vicky. I'm Vicky with the radio. Oh yeah, of course. Then after this, we pan. The camera swings around and we pass this poster that says Republic. There's some sort of debate happening at school. Republicans, or no, it's not a debate. The young Republicans of school are talking about our present. Oh no, it is a debate. Debate showdown. Debate showdown? I'm sorry, is that what season 5 is? The big showdown between the conservatives and those of us freaks who the show is for? There is so much of the mind flayer himself, Ronald Reagan, looming. That guy is everywhere in the show, in the background. And guess what? Guess one of the places, I know you know which one I'm talking about, the Wheelers' front yard in season 2. But yeah, he's also on the he's also behind the bullies in Elle's classroom in California. I'm sorry, that is the mind flayer. People have joked Ted Wheeler's the big bad of the show, but like Ted Wheeler kind of might be the big bad of the show. Sorry, Reagan voters. Yeah, those people are flayed. Okay, so now we have 11, Elle, Jane. We'll go with Elle for the remainder of this. Running through the woods, and then they have, the classic switcheroo where shit thinks the military's hunting her, but then they're hunting some burnout. I'm sorry, that's like a human. We never get information on who this person is. They just shoot her, and then they go, get her out of here. These people don't give a... they're showing how dismissive of a literal the wrong person they were hunting. Also, I think this is the first time we see Elle, right? And what's she doing? She's training under the tutelage of what do we call him? Hopper. Hopper. Because Hopper in this season, for some reason we've regressed. We had shitty season 2 Hopper, then season 2 is But season 3, what was that? Season 4, I thought he went on a journey. Why have we regressed? And it's because he's given into his fear that leads him to suppress his daughter in the name of protection. So Hopper to 11 is L is doing what Mike, Will, and Lucas are doing to Dustin. And yeah, I mean, Hopper's going, "You're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready." We just had a whole season of Papa telling her she's not ready. So in the name of protection and telling them it's in their best, this show is telling us something about how damaging it is, not only for a malicious, oppressive bully and system to affect you, but also how important it is for the loved ones around you to be so scared of that system that they also bully you, even though it's benevolent and well intentioned. That's a good stopping point for now. I'll probably post part 2 as soon as I can. Again, I had so much to say about this, so I hope you had fun. See you in part 2.